I was a painter for a very short period of time. Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my personal experience on how I became a data analyst and how I find myself in tech. So if you're a beginner looking to transition especially from a non-technical background into a technical space, then you want to watch this video to the end. I also share the roadmap of how I learned data analytics and how I was able to get my first internship and my first job. So not wasting much time, let's get right into the video. A little bit of introduction about myself. My name is Salih Fatai, as shown on my YouTube channel name, and I have over 5 years of experience working as a data analyst. I've worked on several projects and worked with different clients, and today I'm going to be sharing my personal experience on how I got into the tech space and how I became a data analyst. So how did I become a data analyst? My journey and learning journey is a little bit different because I did not set out to actually become a data analyst in the very beginning, and I feel like that's how most people that ended up being data analysts also felt at some point. I was studying biochemistry and I had this dream of becoming like a nutritional biochemist at some point. So but there was some moments where I actually fell in love with data and I pivoted into the data analytics field because of the opportunities and the prospect that I actually saw in that field. Before I talk about how I got into data analytics, I want to talk a little bit about what it was like before I actually discovered data analytics, just to share a bit of context. So, like every other person, like some people that might be watching me right now, I was a student in the University of Ilorin studying biochemistry, and it was 300 level stroke 400 level, and there was this immense pressure as a young guy to try and get some extra cash, because obviously at that point the stipends was not really coming in as much and they were not enough. So at that point I was doing a little bit of hustling, I would say. I took up some painting gigs. Yeah, you had me right. I was a painter for a very short period of time, and yeah, that was how it was before discovering data analytics. How I discovered data analytics, because it was, I think, 2017, 2018, and I would say data analytics was not actually popular, at least for me. I haven't had anything about that at that time, and so it was just the fact that there was this drive to try and get extra cash, and then because at that point we're already thinking about what is life going to be like after school. So it was really no brainer when a friend of mine came to me and be like, oh, I saw someone making use of SPSS to analyze research data for students, and this person charged as much as 4,000 naira. I was so surprised, and that was enough as a drive for me to say, oh, I have to learn how to make use of this software. So it was a little bit of curiosity, trying to get some extra cash, that actually led me to trying out SPSS. And it was SPSS. It was not really any popular data analytics tool. It was just like a statistical tool, and that was exactly how I got into, oh, what does data mean? How do you analyze data and all of that? So at that point, when I discovered I needed to learn SPSS, I reached out to people that I know may have a bit of idea about data or SPSS itself or data analysis, and then I got some useful resources specifically from two people, and I did some studying, did some practice video and all of that. Watched some videos on YouTube. There were not so many resources on SPSS on YouTube at that time, but the one I could lay my hands on, I made sure I understood them and tried to replicate what they did in the video, and that was how I began, interacting with statistical software. and learning more and more about SPSS at that time. What was the learning phase like for me? Because I feel some of you that are watching this video would also be in your learning phase. So what was the learning phase like for me? To be honest, it was so rough. You can remember I said I couldn't get as much resources on YouTube on SPSS at that time. I couldn't get as much data to even download some of the videos. I can remember spending nights, a lot of nights in the lecture theater in my school just to make use of free internet. So there was a little bit of challenges which I tried to also navigate in my learning phase. And one of the hard lessons that I actually learned during this time was the fact that, although it took me a while to realize those were mistakes that I did, but was the fact that never to skip the basics. So when I'm trying to learn a new software, I sometimes get super excited and I want to know how to do it without really going through the stress of understanding the tiny bits of information before getting there. So imagine picking up machine learning video when I can hardly analyze data with Python. So that was some of the things that I feel like are very important, and if I could go back to try and learn data analytics again, I would make sure to understand the basics very well. Obviously, we are getting through that now and we're trying to go back and learn basics. Another reason why I always emphasize on trying to understand the basics and get a good grasp of the software or tool that you're using is in the fact that being proficient in one software is better than being mid or average in 3 or 4 different software. And if you are very good at one software, you can easily land a job that requires you to use that software. This was a typical example for me because over 1 year of trying to learn other tools, I was also mastering my proficiency in SPSS, and what that gave me was the opportunity to intern at some point in a startup company, and I also was able to get my first role as a data processing specialist just with my knowledge of SPSS. So I tell people that you don't necessarily have to overwhelm yourself with trying to understand or trying to know all of the softwares that are available in the market, because there will always be more software, there will always be more tools, and as a beginner you might feel pressure to want to know every of those tools because you feel you don't know which one would your next job or the job you're trying to get would require from you. But really, if you can pick selected few softwares like the Google Sheet, Excel, especially if you're a beginner and you're just getting into tech, and you learn it very well and you're very good at it, that might just be all you need to get your first internship or to get your first data related job. So I must mention that as a data analyst, your journey will definitely start from one particular tool. For me, it was SPSS, but it does not necessarily have to be for you as well. So, but the point is, you need to pick one specific tool and use that to understand more about what data analytics is all about, because the fact is data analytics goes beyond just making use of tool and analyzing data. You need to also understand how to create interactive dashboard, how to derive insight from the data that you've analyzed. And making use of one tool and being good at it means you have the opportunity to explore all of other options before you move along to start upskilling. Yeah, the key word here is upskilling. You need to make sure you are up to date on several softwares. As long as you are comfortable and you understand the first few softwares that you've learned, it will be easy for you to pick up other tools and learn along the way. At some point, you may even have to learn on the job, and at that point, you already know you are comfortable with what the field and data analytics is all about. So this is a brief summary of how I started my journey as a data analyst and how I find myself in tech, even though it was not really intended. So I hope this helps someone. And with respect to a roadmap, it's actually quite simple. First is the fact that you need to pick one specific tool and master it. It may be Google Sheet for you, it may be Excel or SQL. Also, don't skip the basics, guys. That's very, very important. Learn the rudiments and basics of data analytics from what statistics means, what data means, the kind of data, the type of data, and all of those things. Also, try to learn in public. Join communities, have accountability partner. For me, I had a friend that we were able to learn pretty much the basics together, and that made it easy for me. But if you don't have a friend that is interested in data analytics, that's not the end of the road. You can join communities, you can learn in public, you can share your work, and you will find out that a lot more people are going through the same journey as yours. And if you still need someone that you could learn with, I'm still learning, so you can reach out to me and we'll learn together. The last is just have that belief in yourself, even when it feels like you don't understand what you're doing, even when it feels like everything doesn't make sense. There are certain points that even when I'm learning certain tools or new concepts, it feels like I don't know what I'm doing, I can't understand them, but those are just your brain playing trick on you. The brain doesn't like to feel stupid, so when you're learning new things, it makes you feel like, oh, there's no point learning it, you can't understand. But have that belief in yourself. Don't lose hope on your on the journey, and also make sure your enthusiasm is way higher than whatever you might be feeling at that point. So I hope this helps you and also motivate you to start your data analytics journey or other journey in tech. If it does, kindly hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be uploading other related videos. Till then, have a nice day.